Journal entry number 2. Learning where the light isn't. There's an old story about a man searching for his keys beneath a street lamp. It's late in the evening. The street is quiet, and the man is on his hands and knees, carefully examining the ground. A passerby notices him and stops. "Have you lost something?" "My house keys," the man replies. So the passerby decides to help. They search beneath the lamp. They check the pavement. They look beside the curb. 5 minutes pass, then 10. Still no keys. Eventually, the passerby asks, "Are you certain you dropped them here?" The man pauses, then points towards a dark part of the street. "No," he says, "I dropped them over there." The passerby looks at him. "Then why are we searching here?" And the man answers, "Because the light is better here." It's a ridiculous story, but perhaps that is why it stays with us, because beneath the humour is something rather familiar. We often search where the light is better. We choose the book we already understand. We practice the part we are already good at. We reread our notes because rereading feels smooth. We remain close to familiar ideas because familiarity feels like progress. And sometimes, without noticing, we begin confusing comfort with learning. There is a particular pleasure in recognizing something. You open a page and think, "Yes, I remember this." You listen to an explanation and think, "That makes sense." You watch someone solve a problem and feel as though you could probably do it yourself. The experience is smooth, comforting, almost effortless. But recognition can be deceptive. Understanding something while it is in front of us is not always the same as being able to recall it later. Watching someone perform a skill is not the same as being able to perform it ourselves. And reading the answer is not the same as finding the answer. The street lamp gives us visibility, but visibility is not necessarily discovery. Perhaps real learning often begins just beyond the circle of light, in the place where the answer is not immediately available, where we have to pause, search our memory, try something, get it wrong, then try again. That place can feel frustrating, sometimes even embarrassing. We may interpret the difficulty as evidence that we are not learning. But what if the difficulty is not a sign that learning has failed? What if it is the place where learning is actually happening? Imagine trying to remember an idea without looking at your notes. At first, nothing comes. Your mind feels strangely empty. You know you studied it. You remember highlighting the page. You may even remember where the sentence appeared. But the idea itself refuses to return. It is tempting to open the book immediately, to return to the light. And sometimes, of course, we should. But if we remain with the question for a little longer, something begins to happen. We search. We reconstruct. We make connections. We test possibilities. Even before the answer arrives, the mind is working differently. It is no longer simply receiving information. It is trying to produce it. And perhaps that effort matters. There's a book called Make It Stick by Peter Brown, Henry Roediger, and Mark McDaniel. One of the ideas running through it is that learning can feel productive without producing durable understanding. Meanwhile, methods that feel more difficult can sometimes leave a stronger trace. Testing ourselves, spacing our practice, mixing different kinds of problems, trying to explain an idea without looking at the original source. None of these methods feels as comfortable as simply reading something again. But perhaps comfort is not the best measure. Maybe the better question is, Can I retrieve this when the light is gone? Can I explain it in my own words? Can I use it somewhere new? Can I recognize the idea when it appears in a different form? I wonder how often we organize our learning around avoiding discomfort. We choose easy exercises because finishing them gives us a sense of movement. We stay within topics where we already feel intelligent. We postpone the difficult chapter. We avoid asking questions because we don't want to reveal what we don't understand. We tell ourselves we are being efficient, but perhaps we are simply searching beneath the lamp, not because the answer is there, but because that is where we feel most capable. There is, of course, a difference between useful difficulty and pointless suffering. Not every struggle is educational. Sometimes material is badly explained. Sometimes a task is far beyond our current foundation. Sometimes we need guidance, rest, or a different method. Learning does not need to become punishment. This is not an argument for making everything unnecessarily painful. No one receives bonus wisdom for using the least comfortable chair in the library. The point is not that pain automatically produces growth. The point is that some kinds of effort should not frighten us. Confusion, slow recall, mistakes, the awkwardness of attempting something without certainty. These experiences may not mean that we are failing. They may mean that we have finally left the familiar path. Think about learning to speak another language. It is easy to recognize words while reading them. It is far more difficult to produce those same words in conversation. Suddenly, the vocabulary disappears. Grammar becomes uncertain. A sentence that seemed obvious on the page becomes impossible to assemble aloud. That moment can feel like failure. But perhaps it is simply the moment when passive knowledge is being asked to become active. The learner has stepped beyond recognition and into creation, beyond the street lamp, into the place where the keys may actually be. The same thing happens when writing. We may read many excellent books about creativity. We may understand the principles. We may admire the sentences. But then we face an empty page. And the empty page does not care how many writing videos we have watched. It asks us to produce something. That is a different kind of knowledge. A knowledge built through attempts, revisions, awkward first drafts, and sentences that sounded much better inside our heads. The blank page is not particularly impressed by theory. It wants evidence. Perhaps this is why genuine learning can feel slower than expected. We are not simply collecting information. We are changing what we can do without assistance. And that change is often difficult to see while it is happening. The struggle may feel unproductive. The pause may feel like nothing. But beneath that pause, the mind may be searching for a path. The path becomes clearer each time we use it. Maybe no pain, no gain is too blunt. Learning does not always need pain, but it does need participation, attention, effort, a willingness to attempt before we feel completely ready. Perhaps a better phrase would be, no engagement, no change. Because the mind cannot build much from information that merely passes through it. We have to handle the idea, turn it over, question it, use it, sometimes misunderstand it, then return with a slightly better question. So the next time learning feels difficult, perhaps we can pause before assuming something has gone wrong. We might ask, is this difficulty telling me to change my approach? Or is it simply asking me to remain here a little longer? Am I genuinely lost? Or have I finally reached the part that requires me to think? And perhaps most importantly, am I searching where the answer might be, or only where the light is better? There is comfort beneath the street lamp. Everything is visible there. Everything feels manageable. But the thing we are looking for may be somewhere else, just beyond what we already know, just beyond what comes easily, waiting in the dark for us to become curious enough to search. That's today's entry. I'd love to hear what this idea brings to mind for you. What is one difficult area you may have been avoiding simply because the light is better somewhere else? Until the next page, stay curious.